Hey guys, just joined the hourly Crazy House Arena. It's a 3+0 event, and I decided I'm going to record one game and see how this goes. So we're starting with a little bit of an unorthodox opening, nice e6, perfectly viable. I'll just control the center, and he's going to challenge it. So do I want to take that or just push past and establish a presence on these dark squares? And cramp him a little bit. I think I'll do that. Don't think I've played this player before. Chark. Yep. Got a tabula rasa, a blank slate here. Alright, pinning the knight. So I'm going to pin him right back. I don't mind if he captures there. Knight's coming to e2. Just to keep this square empty in case I want to push f3, should he ever capture here and drop a knight. So far, this is a pretty standard French-like position. Okay, I'm going to take back with the pawn, establish this nice central pawn structure. And he's going to put some pressure on g2, so could just castle. I think I'm going to castle here. I don't mind if he sacks on g2. He doesn't have anything else in hand to really pressure me. That said, not sure I like this guy hanging out in my territory for an extended period of time. Let's see if I can kick him somehow. H6 was a good move, preventing a bishop at g5, which would skewer these two pieces. Considering just getting my knight in the game, considering dropping a bishop. Maybe even a bishop dropping the light squares would not go amiss. Also defending on that f3 square. Could move my king to safety. I'm using a little bit too much time here, I think, so let me see. Bishop here is not a bad idea. Alright, let's do that move. Again, using too much time. So, yeah, he's about doubled me up on the clock. If he moves his knight back ever, I'll just capture that, most likely. If he pushes, he's creating a huge weakness, so we can't do that. Alright, he's preparing to castle queenside, I think, so let me pick the tempo up a little bit here. That's okay, he does indeed castle queenside. He takes, I'll take here before recapturing. But my idea here is just to push this pawn to a6 and then trade some stuff in the light squares and come in that way. Alright. Okay, let's do this. I think he might block that way, but then he'll have created some dark square weaknesses. And I just really want to get this a3 or a6 move in. 53 seconds, okay, so he does do that. Let's be aggressive. I'm going to go ahead and come in on these light squares. Do I drop on b6 or d6 is the question here. I think I'll drop on b6, open up my rook. If he captures, he does not capture. Alright, try to bring some pieces in on these dark squares. He's going to pressure that bishop and mate. I'll block that and defend my bishop at the same time. Making a little bit more headway back on the clock, but position's a bit locked up, more locked up than I'd like. I've played this maybe not in the best manner, but he's played a good game. Let's play f4 next, maybe kick his queen back. Then I have to be wary of bishop at e3. I can sidestep that. I think that's okay. Plan from here, I could bring a rook to the b file, push this pawn. No, I don't want. Let's just get rid of this bishop. I'm expecting a bishop here. I'll sidestep. I couldn't take that because mate was looming. He drops a bishop back. What do I want to do then? That's a good question. He's going to sack. Okay, I'll take that. And, kick this queen first. So he's not attacking my bishop. 30 seconds to 11 seconds. Yeah, I might get him on the clock here. Oh, that was sloppy. Let that one hang, but it should still be okay. I'll see how he comes in. And that's going to do it. So that was an interesting game. I'm going to withdraw and take a look at that. Would have liked to see how that panned out if the clock was not an issue. That was a really interesting game, and he had some pressure on me there at the end. So, okay. Knight c6, you'll see this when you don't, when black doesn't really want to commit the central pawns and tell you what structure he's going for immediately. And it leaves him very flexible. So, play proceeds pretty normally. He does proceed with the French-like structure, and I fix it. E5, saying I want to go into the advanced French. He's pinning me up, bishop out. Pretty standard stuff. I think this is all fine. And now here was kind of a juncture where I really wanted to figure out the optimal plan, and maybe the bishop h5 was not the optimal plan after all. Maybe I had a better continuation. This feels like a pretty pivotal point in the game where I need to kind of make a more concrete plan. So let's see what other options I had. He's not really threatening to sack here, like I mentioned. Not just yet, anyway. Maybe better would be just to get this knight in the game. Kind of activate this knight, get my queen more active as well, simultaneously, while retaining this bishop in hand and not yet committing it to the lighter dark squares. So maybe that's a decent option. Knight e4. I'd really like to kick this knight somehow, but a bishop here isn't really threatening too much. His queen is on that knight. An aggressive option would be dropping a bishop here, capture, and just coming in on these dark squares, but I don't really want to give up a piece too early. No. Okay. Maybe just f3, prophylactically preventing any piece from ever dropping in on e4. That was an issue later in the game, as you saw. So maybe f3 would have been a useful move here. Maybe f3 or king h1 would have been more useful than a bishop at h5. But okay, this is still a decent move. Here he's signaling his intention to castle queenside, which I think is probably his best option. That frees him up to be very aggressive on the king side, maybe a sack here, maybe pushing his pawns later. And while I don't yet have a pawn in hand, he doesn't need to worry about a pawn drop on here, which would pry him open immediately and make castling kings or queenside inadvisable at best. But like I said, I don't have a pawn in hand, so I can't do that. I think castling queenside is a good option. Since I don't have that pawn in hand, I push this pawn. Castles, push. Yeah, that's natural. And now dropping knight back, that's a good defensive move, I think. It prevents this, although, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. Looking at this, but then he just captures here, and after that, his bishop nicely guards those squares, and I don't have anything to show for the piece I sacked. So, yeah, after the knight drops back, the knight's doing a great job of defending these light squares. That's his most valuable defensive piece right now. So, is trading bishops advisable? Probably, just to keep the tempo and get rid of his light square defender there. So, proceeding from here, yeah, I think this is still okay. Maybe I could have considered bishop takes, queen takes, pawn drop, takes, pawn drop here, takes, and then I can bring my rook in. So if you didn't follow that, I'm sacking a few pawns here, but I was thinking about something like this, takes, dropping a pawn here, or I guess I could consider like a bishop here. Ah, that would have been good, I think, skewering these two pieces. But yeah, just to continue that train of thought, takes, and now either bishop here would be good or rook in, and his king has become very weak. I've sacked a little bit of material to open up this king, but maybe that was a decent continuation. Maybe I could have considered that. So after takes here, I think he's got to recapture that, and then a pawn drop, and he can't really ignore that either. So takes. Yeah, I kind of like this. I think if he makes a concession and doesn't take that, then that's just a thorn in his side, and I'll be able to make pretty good use of that, dropping a bishop here, just cementing these two in place. Maybe just coming in on these dark squares, getting rid of this knight finally. And once I get rid of this knight, say with a pawn drop here or whatever in the future, say he moves that knight away, then I can start proceeding on the light squares. And when you have a presence on both the light squares and the dark squares, then it's going to be lights out. So so if he takes here, then I think probably here is best, just picking up the piece. I imagine a sack here. I imagine that's what he would do. Now I have a decision whether I want to take this rook straight away or take this knight. I don't think there's anything to be said against taking here first. Yeah, this would have been good. That's probably a better option, but okay, so I didn't do that. What did I do? Bishop at b5 instead. So he blocked, probably a good option. My point here was he kind of has to block. If he just drops the rook back or something, then I'm going to proceed with this and open up his king side, thusly. So yeah, let's go back to there. I think f6 is more or less forced just to keep me out of his hair. But my point here was after forcing this move, I thought it might be a concession, opening up these dark squares for me to play on. But as it turned out, I didn't really have much to place on those dark squares in the game. So yeah, I don't like that. That's giving him a little bit too much material when I didn't really need to do that. I wanted to be aggressive, but maybe my better option was being a little bit more conservative here and dropping my bishop back, holding on to this material and saying, what are you going to do? I have a pretty actionable long-term plan that is trading for stuff and dropping on these dark squares. Maybe a c4 takes, and then dropping in that pawn on d6, something like that. And I don't see what his plan is really. Maybe he's going to consolidate. His best option is probably to play defensively here. Maybe a bishop at c7, just shoring up some of these holes. He's still quite solid there, and play would proceed. It's just a game. But yeah, I don't like that choice I made there to sack that material. So okay. And again, my opponent finding some really great defensive resources. He's playing this very accurately, I feel. Because after I drop a pawn here, yeah, you don't want to take here. That's just asking for trouble. I could even push here and just establish a presence on the light squares, but no, just recapture here, and the pawn's going to be dropping here or here. This rook's going to be coming in, and his kingside, or queenside actually, his castle queenside. His queenside will be collapsing. So another good find from my opponent, just pushing past, locking the position, and now putting the question to me. I don't really have much, do I? So yeah, I like that move. Queen comes in, and now what? I think I've got to play this move, this knight g3, blocking the mate threat and defending my bishop. Because right here, my bishop was on the pre, so that activates my queen and blocks the mate threat. But yeah, now he's on the attack, right? Because I gave up all that material. Now my king's feels a little bit uncomfortable. See, I was expecting a sack here, just straight away. Maybe that's not the best option, actually, now that I think about it, because after I take here, this bishop and queen duo does a good job of defending the light squares where he might like to come in. And if he drops here, probably f3. I think that's fine. And his attack is more or less stymied. If instead a pawn drop here, maybe something like h3, and after here takes, and just sidestepping, and now my king feels safe because he has no way to, he doesn't even have any checks anymore, and the play could proceed from there. So yeah, I think that's okay. I think a nice sack there isn't crushing me or anything. I should be able to survive and turn the pendulum back on the attack eventually. So play bishop here instead, and I blocked. Yeah, he was putting some pressure on here, and I think blocking here is a good option. Blunting this bishop, but also giving my king a little bit of breathing air, some luff. I know you don't normally see luff with a move like f3. Normally luff comes with h3 or g3, but and structures like this, you got to be really wary. If this bishop ever gets to g2 and he gets another knight in hand, then a knight here is going to be mate. But I like having this luff square to run with. So now he sacks, takes. He's thinking about picking off this knight, but I was able to throw an intermezzo move in there and kick his king off this, or his queen off this file, so that this knight is no longer pinned, and I can save it. Queen back, and now I save that, and now I'm perfectly fine. Ooh, as a matter of fact, no, I'm not. He had the nice resource of a knight at e3 forking me, because after I give up that knight, he's got a knight in hand to place that fork. So maybe more accurate here was taking with the f3 pawn, and then after it takes, then yeah, probably just recapture. That's perfectly fine, actually. If he takes here, I've got this square well defended now. I'm not worried about a pawn drop or any sort of drop there, and now I can start my attack. Win some pieces, and I think my attack is going to close quicker than he can work up some counterplays. So yeah, I should not have taken with the knight there and given him another knight in hand. Instead, taking with the pawn would have completely shut him down, I think. So okay, so from here it just kind of became a time scramble, didn't it? So not much, a little more to analyze after that position, but even here I should be okay still. He doesn't really have much to speak of, and I'm going to be able to consolidate around my king, and now I'm safe. Play will proceed. I gave him that queen for nothing, but nonetheless, play would proceed. So yeah, really interesting game. Good game for my opponent, Chark. So I'll have to keep an eye on this guy. First time I've ever played him, and I expect him to keep climbing a little bit. He's a strong player. Probably stronger than that 2,000 rating would indicate. Defended very accurately, and I threw this game into positional waters right from the get-go, choosing to push past instead of capturing here and opening the game up, because if you capture in the French, in exchange, French is a lot more active, a lot more tactical, a lot more sharp than the advance. When you advance, you're just looking for kind of a long-term positional edge. You're looking for more space and maybe to cramp him a little bit, and that's what I was contending with my play. So, a really interesting game, well defended from my opponent. It's a shame it kind of devolved into a time scramble there at the end, but I think I showed some interesting continuations that would have panned out had the clock not run out. But yeah, so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this game, and hopefully I'll be back with more content soon. Thanks, guys.